Hey everyone, John for Nintendo Life here, and last night was the 2021 Keighley's, otherwise known as the Game Awards, and to discuss our thoughts and opinions and experiences with this show is Xeon.
I feel like the Keighley's has to be a joke that's been made before, but somehow it broke me for a second. I love that.
I think I'd like the show maybe a bit more if it was called the Keighley's, because the Game Awards is a bit of like an overarching title. The Keighley's though? Like that sounds like something you can invite your mum to.
Exactly. Yeah, like or at least we could start naming the awards that, or there could be a small category where, you know, like during the night, Jeff gives away a few Keighley's, you know? So not only are there's the standard Game Awards, but there's also the Keighley's.
This is far from the first Keighley's, though. There have been, I think this is their 7th year, maybe their 8th year.
Wow.
Before this, it was VGA. And was it VGA before this, where they announced Cranky Kong?
That sounds right. That sounds accurate.
Yes, this has definitely been rebranded and formed over time. So this should be the most refined version of the Keighley's. And I feel like they've definitely put on a good show, but there isn't that much to discuss, which might be telling to the show's quality this year. There are definitely some good reveals. There were some good showcases too, like Hellblade looked outstanding.
It does.
But that's not Nintendo. So Xeon, was like a standout moment for you during this year's Keighley's?
Well, it's tough, because I, kind of like you said, I think there were a lot of exciting things that were shown off, but a lot of them weren't geared towards Nintendo. And anyone listening to this, don't be worried that we're not going to have anything to talk about, because we still have lots of things to chat about here. Yeah, there's stuff. Let me
we got
tell
stuff.
You. You like stuff? But yeah, it did feel like it felt like the award ceremony, which is still, you know, it's still weird that we're talking about a big announcements during an award ceremony, but here we are. But I guess I think a lot of the cool moments for me were like the people that came out on stage to chat this year. I think I felt a little different about that, like seeing I think her name is Ashley Johnson, who did the voice of, was that Ellie from The Last of Us?
Oh, totally, yeah.
Which is also not a Nintendo game. You know, like she came out on stage to announce an award or present an award. And I think Ashley Birch came out at one point, which is the voice of Tiny Tina. But I used to watch Hey Ash, What You Playing all the time back in the day.
On game trailers, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Like, did I ever tell you that I have a signed Yoshi's Cookie cartridge by her because of they did a Yoshi's Cookie skit back in the day, and she was at a convention that I went to, and I was like scrambling in my room, like, what do I have Ashley Birch sign? And that was it.
I don't think so.
Okay, I'll have to send you. I'll post a picture of it in the video here for the people that care. But yeah, I think even like seeing, the new voice of Sonic. I'm blanking on his name so hard right now.
Ben Schwartz, I think, is his name.
Yeah, I think Ben Schwartz might be my favorite part of the whole night, because he came out and it felt like he was just doing an improv, like, comedy sketch the whole time. Like, he didn't have notes. You know, maybe he knew what he wanted to talk about, of course, but it just felt so authentic and real, I think. So, like, he really, like, helped me get hyped for the Sonic trailer, and which, you know, we'll talk about. We'll talk about the Sonic trailers here shortly, but I think maybe just the people that were there to give away the awards felt different this year. Like last year we had Vin Diesel come out and talk about, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the other girl's name that came, or the girl that came out with him, but they like butchered Tekken, the name of Tekken, I think, and Sekiro or Sekiro. See, now I'm doing it. I don't even know what that game's called anymore. But it just the presenters felt different this year, and I think I really appreciated that move.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're getting at. I think a big problem with the Game Awards is they have de-emphasized the Game Awards portion of it. I think that they're trying to bring it back a bit more this year. But prior years, they'll give you like a big world premiere announcement, and they'll say, oh, now it's time for the best soundtrack category, and the winner is Life is Strange. Okay, here's the next game. So it felt like they were kind of, like, prior years, they've been trying to do world premiere. This time I think they've been trying to balance it a bit more. But because the audience is expecting world premieres, people are disappointed by having awards take a bit more of a focus this year.
Yeah, it's tough because people are coming to the Game Awards now because they're expecting big news, and of course I think everybody at the end of the day cares about the awards, but it's tough because everybody always wants to hear about new games. And of course, there's all these developers that are probably helping. I mean, I don't know this for certain, but I'm assuming there's devs and publishers that are helping fund the Game Awards, because this has become a fairly elaborate show over the years. And so it doesn't feel fair necessarily that, because I feel like we had a little bit of that this year as well. Like there were some of the awards I don't even know who won because they happened like in a blink of an eye. But it just, it felt like some of them didn't get the, I don't want to say it didn't feel like they got the time that they deserved. But at the same time, this award show wasn't it like was it over 3 hours long?
It was pretty damn long, yeah. And to one of the points you're making earlier, to get a world premiere spot in the Game Awards, you do have to pay a sum. I don't know exactly how much it is, but it sounds like a pretty high sum. So that's how they're all funded. Like the people making these announcements are, because they got all these eyes on them, they're like, oh, Keighley, please show us your game. Here's lots of money to do that. And I think one problem with Nintendo is they don't need to do that, because Nintendo have Directs and they have a lot of eyes on those. And so what kind of announcement do you put in the Game Awards? Like prior years, they've had Bayonetta, which, that's a pretty wide net you're casting outside the usual Nintendo demographic. They have Smash, which isn't, they're not doing Smash anymore. So it's hard not to, I can't really blame Nintendo for not being here, because they're going to make these announcements anyway in their own Directs. Like, what difference does it really make at the end of the day?
Yeah, that's a good point. Because Nintendo just picks and chooses when to drop something, like you said, and everybody just flocks to it. They don't need that anymore. I am very surprised though at the end of the day that we really didn't get anything from Nintendo this time around, unless if I fell asleep for a second and missed something.
They had like little ad breaks. Like there were times where they were like, "Hey, 2021 was pretty good on Switch," and they had like this little trailer reel showing some games we've already played. But yeah, apart from that, there was no presence. They
thanked the indie community, I think, at one point, and I thought that was really nice. I mean, it was an advertisement still at the end of the day for a bunch of indie games, but I thought it was just like a nice little thing that Nintendo didn't have to do, But some amiibo got announced, which was really funny. I saw our contributor Alan. He tweeted, because he was at the awards. He tweeted about the fact that it was some really funny joke that I'm completely going to butcher, but it was just the fact that he was at an award show where amiibo were unveiled was a weird experience.
Yeah. I think the general tone of announcements, and this is a problem every year with the Game Awards, is they don't tend to show games that are that far along. Like, they'll announce games, and they won't show gameplay. So look, one game that comes to mind is Wonder Woman, which was announced. And all we know about that is the developer, which I believe, was it Monolith, who did...
who did Fear and, the Lord of the Rings game, right?
Yeah. So, like, it's cool. Like, we got a CG trailer showing Wonder Woman. We got the title Wonder Woman. But that's nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something you can just make a little article about. Oh, Monolith are making Wonder Woman. It doesn't show anything about the game. And that's something that permeates so many other announcements. Like Hellblade, we got... They say what we saw was gameplay. I believe it was in engine. I think that's true. But the game, we've been hearing about its development cycle. It's early. They're basically in the pre-production stage. Or early production, at least. This game is years off. So I think what we saw... I mean, it was very cinematic what we saw for one. I think what we saw was basically in-engine footage. I don't think it was actual gameplay. And then there's so many other games, like these little CG trailers that play. There's a theme of not showing gameplay. Like even Nintendo in previous years with Bravely Default 2 didn't show gameplay. And if that is a theme that they're trying to carry, I think they need to try and fix that.
It felt like so many of the trailers tonight that we saw were they were designed like movie trailers almost, right? Like they were there to get people excited about something that's coming, but we didn't really get a good chance to see many of the games. Like I think it's fair to call me a sheep at this point with what I'm about to say, but I don't own a next-gen console. I mean, I own a Switch and an OLED Switch, but I don't own a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X. But after watching the awards tonight, I now really want one of them. So I feel like in that respect, I think some of the trailers did their job, but it doesn't feel like it. it's never fun to see a trailer and not know enough about what's coming out. Like even with Sonic, is it Frontiers?
Yeah, Sonic Frontiers. Yeah.
Like we got to see some in-engine shots, I guess, but not really gameplay. It felt like we kind of got like a drone was kind of flying around in a few different areas or something, I guess, or the camera was panning over some of the open world aspects, I suppose. But we still don't really know what this game plays like or anything. And this is the second time we've seen this game. I mean, kind of, or at least the second time we've heard about it, at least, I should say.
Yeah. I guess we should just talk about Sonic Frontiers for a second then.
I guess so.
Interestingly, too, there was a 4chan post, or like a Reddit, I think it's 4chan it was, from January of this year. And it had a bunch of details about Sonic Frontiers. It was called Sonic Rangers back then.
Oh, you're
and
right.
Apparently some people playtested it. And what's eerie is everything they said was in this trailer. So in this leak, they basically said, open world... I'll send the image to Xeon 2 to put on the screen.
Cool.
But it says, open world gaming, woo! Ubisoft towers with annoying... can I say this? With Ubisoft towers with annoying-ass Korok ripoffs. Story revolves around a human, Ghost Girl, which we now know is Amy. There's enemies, puzzles, and bosses sprinkled throughout the world. Beat puzzles to get orbs, use orbs to unlock portals, and portals take you to Unleashed-style worlds. Beat the Unleashed-style worlds and you get level ups, and there's an EXP system with a skill tree, which I don't like the sound of. There's battling is boring, mash X to win, and it's melee-style combat apparently. So that gives you a bit more context to what this is. So basically there's an open world where you go around, and it sounds like you beat people up, almost like Sonic Unleashed, and then by doing things in the open world it takes you to levels which are more linear-style Sonic Unleashed Generations kind of takes. So there's a chance that this has been overhauled, because there are 2 leaks just like this one, and both of them are very negative about what they played. And because these basically come 2 years before the game is finished. So it's releasing in holiday 2022, these come from January 2021. So if this is all negative, there's a chance Sega went, actually, yeah, this isn't good, let's remedy that. So don't take this all as, like, this is what the game is going to be. But what they played has melee combat, which I don't like the sound of in a Sonic game.
It does sound weird. I guess that maybe that's their way of trying to make the game more interesting, because right now we have these giant open worlds, or this giant open kind of landscape to roam around in, but it hasn't been filled with anything yet. And I guess is this going to be like a Sonic the Hedgehog Nier Automata game? Is that what we're getting at the end of the day? Is Sonic going to have like
about this actually? Like, how's the open world going to work, and is it going to be fun? And my mind went to Spider-Man, like Marvel Spider-Man on PS4 and PS5, and like I don't think New York in that game is overtly interesting. Like it's a city with lots of buildings. There's not much to do though. But it's still fun. Like, I didn't fast travel much in that game just because it's fun to swing as Spider-Man. And so like, I don't think the world matters that much. And with Sonic, I think it can just be fun to run around.
Yeah.
Like, you think like Station Square or the Mystic Ruins, are they overtly fun levels? Or is it just fun to run around as Sonic?
I think you're totally right, because especially in the Mystic Ruins, in like the jungle area, if you're actually trying to get somewhere, it's a nightmare, because you get lost easily. You might get tripped up just running around on the ground. You might hit a tree and get stuck or something. But there's something magical about like standing up at the top of that cliff and doing like a spin dash and flying off and managing to like run along the trees because you hit the right spot or you're going fast enough. And I think if they manage to capture that feeling in this new game, it might just be all right at the end of the day. And so far, you know, I'm looking at this with the one image here that we have from the trailer of Sonic kind of standing on that pedestal looking out, and you see water, and you see floating platforms, and you see lots of like rolling hills and things, and like lots of opportunities to do something very similarly, you know, like spin dash and fly off an area and see. I doubt. I mean, maybe the game actually. I was gonna say maybe the game will have like little races that you can do, like little time trials scattered all over the world. Obviously, we don't know that, but that could be a great way to kind of take advantage of this new world that they've made. I guess I look at it and I'm more excited the more I think about it. And I like the idea too of the big bosses, right? That we kind of got like a small glimpse of as well.
It's strange, isn't it? I mean, I kind of get the vibe of Shadow of the Colossus. I'm seeing
sure.
lots of Breath of the Wild comparisons, but like the style of the world and the boss encounters them, like that final frame where we see the boss tower over Sonic, it almost looks like we're going to climb that guy. Are we going to run up him and try and like take him down with platforming? Because if so, I think that can be really, really cool.
Yeah, it looked like it almost had like I don't want to say a runway, but like a track on it. Like there were specific lines on the giant. I'm gonna call it a mech for a lack of a better word right now. but this giant mech robot thing, it does kind of look like that you're gonna maybe have to run up it and maybe get to the weak point or something like that, like in Shadow of the Colossus, and take it down. And I think that intrigues me more than just having, some kind of like Sonic Unleashed style bosses kind of roaming around the world. Like if we have these giant hulking behemoths that Sonic has to run along, that I don't know. I think I'm excited about that, even though we didn't really get a good look at what this boss thing even is, this mech.
Yeah, I'm optimistic. I love Sonic. I think there are actually very few bad games. There's definitely flawed games, but Sonic Forces was the only one that bored me in a very long time. Like I've had fun with pretty much every Sonic game.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with Forces, though, is they spent most of the development making a Hedgehog engine 2, and so much of the actual game itself wasn't made in that much time. That's probably why a lot of the problems are the way they are. But what's kind of fascinating is, like, back in the mid-2000s, they did Sonic 06, and then 2 years later, they followed it up with Sonic Unleashed, which is a divisive game, but in 2 years, they made a whole new engine, a whole new art style, a whole new gameplay style, and I think most agree the core of Sonic Unleashed, the core Sonic levels at least, are thrilling, and it's crazy they achieved that after Sonic 06 so quickly. And it's, as of this game's release in holiday 2022, it will have been 5 years since Sonic Forces.
Wow.
Which is considerable. And they're not making a new engine, they're still using Hedgehog Engine 2. So, like, are they just being very wary about the quality of this one? Because that's optimistic to me, that they've waited this long. And they are changing things. Because to be honest, I was a little bit bored, I guess tired of the boost formula. We've had it for a long time. We've had it since Sonic Unleashed, which was 13 years ago, I want to say.
Wow.
And the output of Sonic has slowed down. Like, in that time, we've had Unleashed, we've had Colors, we've had Lost World, we've had Forces. So really, they've only... and Generations. So there's been 4 boost games, which isn't that much. But I am ready for something new, though. I'm ready for them to kind of change the formula. And open world Sonic has so much potential for that. Also, a very positive thing that we know for sure is Ian Flynn is writing this. And for those who don't know, he is the writer for the Sonic comics.
Really? Okay.
Ever since Sonic Colors, they've had a duo who worked on Happy Tree Friends writing the games. And I think Colors was fun.
What?
But I think most fans agree that Sonic's writing hasn't been that great as of late. There's just very... it's hard to say what exactly I want from a Sonic story, because story's not that important, but it does set the tone. And I think Sonic's at its best when it takes itself seriously, but you can sort of laugh along with it. And that's kind of what the comics do. So I'm very interested to see what kind of shift they take with this, because it's been a long time since we've had different writers for Sonic games. So this is cool.
That's really exciting, honestly. The comic books, I shouldn't assume that the world of the comic books are going to, bleed into this game, but the comics have never really been anything that Sonic, video game wise, has ever really latched onto, and the worlds are always there's so many different areas and different characters that we've never gotten to see because of they're stuck in that realm. But yeah, the story is so much more expansive. So that's refreshing to hear that we have kind of a new direction for Sonic games as far as the story goes. And obviously we don't know what that means. What is that going to look like? But that's another thing to be optimistic about. That's really cool.
This game's shaping up it could turn out really well. There's a lot of pessimism about this, and I understand that. I understand Sonic doesn't have a great track record in this kind of stuff. But everything I'm hearing, apart from the combat in the 4chan post, is sounding positive.
I am a little nervous to see this game running on Switch. I think it does look like that the landscapes are, I think they're barren enough so far that maybe, I don't want to use the word barren in like a negative way, but I guess what I'm trying to say is it looks like there could, if they tone down the graphics, maybe it won't be too hard on the Switch. Maybe I don't want to say this, but maybe we'll even have a better Switch by the time this rolls around as well. But I do hope that this game doesn't suffer on Switch because of the power that the graphical power that they're trying to put into this, But
yeah, that's a good point too. I did kind of shiver when I saw the Switch logo because on one hand, it's great that it's on Switch. How's it going to run is the big question. But also, is it going to hold the general vision back? Because they're going for an open world Sonic game. It looks visually incohesive in many ways, but it also looks visually quite demanding. Yeah, it is a bit worrying on both sides. Like, is Switch going to run well, and is it going to make other versions potentially less ambitious?
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, something that we don't have to worry about running well or not because it doesn't play on a video game console is the new Sonic movie, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. That's not even a game.
Yeah, this I was really excited to see this, and it's kind of cool because they did quite a few movie tie-ins at the Game Awards. Like they showed Del Toro's new film, which felt out of place because that's nothing to do with games. But this is
right.
so gamey.
I can't. Did you catch that Silent Hill joke he made too, by chance?
I did, yeah.
I can't believe he did that. What?
But yeah, this is the proper venue for the Sonic movie too. It makes sense. And I'm so for this. It feels like it knows all the big reveals it's doing. Like not only is there Tails, not only is there Knuckles, but it begins with a shot of Sonic standing in the night on top of a building with police cars. They know what they're doing. That's so Sonic Adventure.
It was. I saw Taco on Twitter was talking about the fact that there were like so many Sonic Adventure references, and that was the only one that I noticed at first. But as you go throughout the trailer, like if you pause moments and take a deeper look, there's a lot of Sonic Adventure inspiration in there, and there's probably more game inspiration that I of course went right over my head too. But I think you're right. There's a lot of things here that were made for the fans, and it feels like we just so often don't get that in video game movies. I think at one point I was watching this with my girlfriend, and I got so excited about the fact that Knuckles is being kind of used as an enemy or as like a pawn by Eggman or Dr. Robotnik, and I just wanted to yell like that's from the game, that's from Sonic 3, And I brought that up, and she was kind of like, "Why is that such a big deal? I mean, it's based on the game, right?" And I wanted to be like, "No, you don't understand. Like just because it's a movie based on a game doesn't mean that it is that they're going to base it on the game at the end of the day, or that they're going to stick that close. But it seems like they care here. Yeah,
so many movie adaptations are almost embarrassed to embrace their game stories. Like the Resident Evil movies, they are so divided from the games. But yeah, it's cool here. And in Japan, this is called Sonic vs. Knuckles, rather than Sonic Movie 2.
No way!
Yeah, that's a cool name. And Knuckles 2, we only got like one line from him, but it was a good line. Like, you can feel his presence.
I agree. In that one scene. Yeah. I was really worried when... Well, I shouldn't say... Yeah, worried is exactly how I felt. I had nothing to worry about when I found out that the voice of Tails was coming back for this. That made me really happy, and it makes me wonder as well. Like, did they try out any like big name celebrities for Tails? Because we have Idris Elba, I think, is the voice of Knuckles,
that's
and
right.
I don't know him for a lot of things, but I know people love him, and it makes me. I'm surprised they didn't pick someone else for Tails, but I'm happy that they didn't, and that they I can't remember her name right now, but I'm glad that she got to do this because she's such a great fit for Tails.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd juxtaposition. Like, we've got these big voice actors or these big actors for Sonic and Knuckles, but then Tails is just the game one, and like, it fits well. It's odd, Yeah,
the decision, right?
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun though. Like seeing Jim Carrey come back as Eggman with the proper moustache this time.
Yeah.
It's the first film had a great energy to it. I'd say it is one of my favorite video game films, and I know some are divided on it, but I thought it was a lot of fun. And this seems like it's bringing that same energy back, but really diving further into the movies. Really diving further into the games. Because the first one was Sonic, like, he's a fish out of water. He's in the world with humans. And this one feels like it's a bit more, the Sonic characters kind of taking over that kind of universe. It's Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles now, rather than just Sonic. And we've even got, like, the Master Emerald, I assume that was, rather than a Chaos Emerald. There's just so much more, like, Sonic lore being, like, dived into this one.
Yeah, absolutely. There was, like, the giant pedestal that, or the mountain, not the mountain, the pillar, I guess, that like the emerald's like just chilling out on, right? Or is that actually, was that I can't even remember now. There's so many. I feel like we got a look at so many different scenes in this film, so many different areas. Like there was, I'm not sure if you noticed too, there was one point where Sonic was kind of like running through this kind of fiery lava area, and there's like spike balls swinging around, and it totally reminded me of I think it was called Red Mountain from Sonic Adventure.
Yeah. There's also one snowboarding scene, which is either Ice Cat from Sonic 3 or also Ice Cat from Sonic Adventure. Like, there's just so many cool little callbacks.
Yeah, and it's like, where are those parts going to fit into the film? Because in Sonic, in the first movie, we had, there was the whole introduction with like Sonic growing up, I suppose, and he's in the. I don't remember what that wasn't Mobius. Mobius was the world of the comics, I think. But whatever world this is that Sonic lives in, we kind of had that. But otherwise, it, like you said, for the most part, it was surrounded by humans and Dr. Robotnik or Eggman, but I wonder if this movie is going to take us into more like 3D or CG animated worlds, because I think these characters fit so well in there already, and I think like that's the stuff that I think is going to make Sonic fans really excited. And I hope that they kind of like you said, there's the snowboarding scene, and there was and I guess just like the area where the Master Emerald is. We have these different elements, and I just hope they lean into those different worlds so hard. I that's what I want.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. I'm pretty we can guarantee this is going to be a good movie. I mean, the first one was good. This seems like it's just going to grow upon that. But rather than this being a giant Sonic discussion, which it pretty much has been for most of this chat, there were a few other things at the Game Awards. In the pre-show, they had Persona 4 Arena Ultimax, which that isn't a new game. That released on 360 and PS3, and it's kind of a sequel, kind of an expansion of the first Persona 4 Arena. But they're re-releasing it on Switch, PS4, and PC. Weirdly not Xbox, even though the original Persona 4 Arena Ultimax was on 360. But that's pretty exciting. It's not the Persona 4 people wanted, but it's still nice to have on Switch.
Agreed. And this is one of those games, too, that just keeps getting more expensive as the years go on, like especially with the big PlayStation Network shutdown. I think that really caused that game to go up in price. I'm just looking right now again here in the US, and maybe it's different in Europe, but in the US, like on PlayStation 3, it's like a $70 game.
Oh wow.
Right now. And it'll be nice to have I guess I'm assuming this game is going to get a physical release, but it's going to be nice to have another option, another way to play this game.
I've only ever played the vanilla Persona 4 Arena, so Ultimax kind of will be a new game to me. So I'm pretty excited for this. It's definitely not like a mind-blowing announcement, but it's more Persona on Switch. So now we've got the 4 Arena, we've got Strikers, we've got BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle. There's so many things with Persona stuff in, just no actual Persona.
Exactly. Yeah, we have another way to play as Persona characters, but not in their standard mainline games.
Yeah, but there's still
Once
time.
Again.
It's the anniversary year. They're doing monthly announcements, so it's cool. This is a cool announcement. I don't want to drag it down and say I wanted 4 golden, because it is cool to have this.
And hopefully we'll get that eventually. Like maybe this is just a taste of what's to come eventually. Because it would
sprinkling the goods.
It just wouldn't make sense for them to not bring those over. But hey, we're not Atlas and Sega, right? So we can't make the decisions as much as it would be nice if we could.
Yeah, we can try to. Were there any other Were there any other big announcements Nintendo related?
I mean, so nothing that like I was really stoked about. I feel like if we had Alex here for this chat, he would have something to say about Monster Hunter because
sure.
we got the reveal that there's new amiibo coming and we got like a better look at the expansion pack, which is called
Sunbreak. Yeah.
And I think it looks pretty neat. I like that they're taking the Monster Hunter like world in a different direction, I suppose, like just with the realm, the different characters that we're gonna see, and I really like the different armor styles and things. But I think kind of like you, John, I've never really been a Monster Hunter person, so I don't think this is gonna be the thing that makes me play the game series yet.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it. I think it looks cool. I'm curious to hear what Monster Hunter fans think, though.
Yeah, this wasn't like a crazy ambitious trailer either, was it? I mean, it's just kind of like,
True.
here's some more cinematics. There wasn't really much gameplay in there. But yeah, it's cool that it's coming. I mean, we know it's coming already, but it's cool to see it again. Oh, I guess also staying on the DLC front, Cuphead The Delicious Last Course is finally releasing. This was announced years ago, and it's so odd and kind of refreshing to see a company put so much passion into DLC. This feels like it'll almost be like a standalone game that's just being sold as DLC. And that's coming, I believe was it April of 2022, or maybe like mid 2022?
I think I'm seeing June here, at least
okay.
on the release date trailer.
All right.
But the end of June, so almost July at that point. So it's a ways out still. But you're right. That's a good point, because it does feel like this could have just turned into its own game. You know, they could have pulled like a Hollow Knight, Silk Song, and just been like, you know what, we're putting so much into this, we just want to make it a new game. But they're not. It's a good move, because realistically, this should be less money than for the consumer than if it were another full-fledged game or something as well. So.
And that was basically it from the Nintendo side. There were definitely more announcements at the show. Even for multi-platform stuff, though, I don't think it was that prominent or exciting. But it wasn't like a terrible... It wasn't like a waste of time. I had fun watching this. And Metroid Dread did win Best Action Adventure Game, so it's called for that to get recognized, and Doug Bowser gave a little speech there.
Yeah, I think it looked like there were some people from Mercury Steam there that stood up during the award, or maybe those people were just friends with Doug Bowser and they stood up and applauded. I'm not exactly sure, because they didn't go up on stage. It was just Doug. But yeah, that was cool to see. Yeah, otherwise you're absolutely right. There wasn't really anything else that stuck out for me either, at least on the Nintendo front. I think there was a lot, though, that was shown that just got me excited for the future of gaming somehow. I think just like seeing the Alan Wake 2 reveal was really exciting for me. And even though I played a bit of Alan Wake 1 back in the day, I never made it all the way through. But to hear them talk about the fact that this new one is going to be like a full-on survival horror game, I like appreciated that. You know, I like that they're taking that series in the direction that it always felt like it belonged, like it deserved to be in.
Yeah.
But we got some really weird stuff though as well. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but they announced a Texas Chainsaw Massacre game.
Yeah.
and it's a multiplayer game. Like, it sounds like it's going to be like Dead by Daylight or Evil Dead or Friday the 13th. And it's like, man, can these companies that own the rights to these movie games, can we make a different genre of game? Or is that all you can do now? Because I'm so tired of seeing a new horror video game like crossovers is happening. Yeah, and then it's just another online multiplayer game. I don't know. I don't even play Dead by Daylight, so I shouldn't complain. But but it just feels like they're running out of ideas. So I don't know.
Yeah, there are definitely some games in there too that were heavily rumored that weren't in the Game Awards. Like Chrono Cross wasn't there.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah, I think
completely.
That will probably be announced soon. I think the rumors are all true. Just the venue was wrong, I guess. But yeah, all in all, like It Takes Two won Game of the Year, which I feel that's a very respectful choice. I'm happy for that.
Yeah, I still have not. I don't know about you. I still have not played It Takes Two. It's been on my. I'm planning to soon. But yeah, I appreciate that. That game will forever live on now, having the title of Game of the Year of 2021. You know, like that's a very respectful decision.
Yeah.
It feels like that was a decision, like, from everything I know about the game, it feels like that was like a win for the arts.
Yeah,
so to speak.
Totally.
You know,
it's a kind of game that just doesn't happen every day. Like, Resident Evil Village was a nominee. I enjoyed Resident Evil Village, but it didn't blow me away. Like, 7 felt like it was the resurgence of Resident Evil. It brought everything back. It was new and fresh. Village was good. It was iterative, though, and it didn't feel like it defined 2021. It Takes Two, I think it's just the kind of game we're not really going to see again. So I really liked that it won. But yeah, that's basically the Keeleys for this year. It was a bit of a roller coaster. There's definitely some big stuff in there. We liked Sonic very clearly. And with Sonic Frontiers, there's so much in there to talk about, which is strange because we barely saw it. We barely saw any gameplay. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the future of that game.
Yeah, hopefully Chow are a real thing in the future as well of that. If Sega, if you're listening at all, please just do
let
it.
us go around the open world and find special fruit for our Chow.
Oh, could you imagine? And you could have it roam around with you. It could fly around or run and trip because that's what Chow do.
Have like a backpack that you can put your Chow into.
Oh my
you can run
gosh.
along with you. Yes, the potential.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it wasn't a big Nintendo year, and the fact they didn't have Breath of the Wild 2, I don't think that was a deal breaker. Because at the end of the day, the point of the Game Awards is the awards, even if it is nice to have all these world premieres. So it definitely wasn't the best year, but I think I had some fun with this.
Yeah, me too. And you make a great point too as well. Is like if Breath of the Wild 2 got announced, it might have been the only thing that we would have been able to think about for the rest of the night. And thankfully, in a way, it's a good thing for the Game Awards and the people that won the awards that it didn't. Because now, like you said, we can stop and think about the awards themselves a bit more.
Indeed. Well, if you enjoyed this though, then go to that subscribe button and give it an award.
Give it a Keeley.
Give it a Keeley. And we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.
See you later.